Alright, sorry it's been a while, so I've had it since I've done this, but today I'm going to go over working with, we're going to go over working with perspectives, okay? So, a lot of people have a lot of problems with perspective, and there's really three types of perspective. Perspective one is pretty much a, let me just get a little bit smaller size. There we go. So perspective one is pretty much um, the person standing in front of an object, okay? And this is their field of view. Now, field of view is pretty much looking through a camera, and it would be the edges of a picture. So if this is your picture, that's your edges. 2-point perspective. So this is 1 point. 2-point perspective is the person sitting in front of the object, but now instead of straight on the object, you are sitting diagonal to the object. And again, you still have your same points of view and your field of view, and the pictures again would be the sides. All right. Now, what that means is on this one, you're going to see exactly the front face of the object. Whereas on this one, you're going to be working with corners. And I think that's what gets people most confused. Now, there is 3-point, which I will cover a little bit. And 3-point perspective is pretty much a person. And I'm going to have to draw this from a different view here. So from the top, it'll be like the same thing. It'll be very similar to the 2-point. It'll be exactly similar to the 2-point, except with the 3-point, you're either looking at above or below the object, and you're using um, vanishing points that are above or below. So think of yourself looking at a box that's floating in the air. Okay, now you're looking at the field of view not only as the 2-point, but you're also adding it in the 3-point as well, and you're going to get some distortion. Now I'll explain this down the road. All right, just ignore the cat too. Okay, so with 1-point perspective, we're looking at this here. The first thing with 1-point perspective is that you need to realize your vanishing or your horizon line. Okay, so the horizon line is how you are looking at the figure. Let's just draw the horizon line like so, and the horizon line can change the way you are tilting your head or whatever you want to do. So an example is, say I've got my figure, and let's just start off with this. So the horizon line has a vanishing point on it, right? So we're just going to draw a vanishing point right there. Now, what that means is that's where everything converges to that point, okay? So an example is if you have a box, and I'm just going to kind of rough in a box here, like so. All the vanishing points, these lines converge to this point here and here. Okay, and I think I'm going to just use, yeah, I'll use this line tool instead because it's just easier. So everything converges to that point. Now, where that point ends off is the edge of that box, and that's the end of the box. And the box, no matter what, um, it doesn't matter if the box is over on the left side, no matter what, that box is facing you. So it's very similar to something like that. Alright, so this flat facing of the box is facing towards you. Now, if I go in and let's erase, oops, it's a little bit too big. Let me check something once here. There we go. Alright, so if I erase the vanishing point lines here, you're going to see the box more clearly. And because the box is not see-through, we'd also have to erase the lines like so. So, as you notice though, everything is going very focused on this vanishing point. All lines must converge to the vanishing point. Alright? Now, one of the things that you want to really pay attention to is, and this is what gets really has people confused, is that no matter what you do, you know, everybody can make these small boxes and draw them to the vanishing point, and they're pretty good with it. You know, but whatever you do, these vanishing points, everything has to be drawn towards it. And then on one point's perspective, you're facing your object. So it's generally like looking down a railroad track or something along that lines. Generally, you do not see this vanishing point that much. And the reason for that is because it's not a realistic vanishing point. And it's not a realistic vanishing point because the further you are from things, the larger they're gonna, or the further you are, the closer things are gonna appear. I'm sorry, repeat that. The further you are, the smaller things are going to appear. So right now, these two blocks are on the same, roughly the same platform. Now, if I draw a box down here and draw my vanishing point lines to it, as usual. Alright, now if you look at this vanishing point is back over here, and like so. So this box could be, is the same size as most likely this box. However, this box is being closer, so it's going to be larger. And so that's really how you do one-point vanishing. And I'm not going to delve too much into it because the reason is it's not a realistic point of view. It's great for hallways or roads or stuff like that. But to be honest with you, these areas right here would be larger than this area right here. Because of the simple fact that this is further away. So you're going to get some sort of two-point perspective in all of this. Alright, so let's move on to 2-point. Alright, and for that fact, I'm just going to kind of zoom over here. Now, on 2-point, what you want to pay attention to is you have your horizon line, like so, and you have now two vanishing points. You have the left vanishing point, and then you have the right vanishing point. Now, everything must, except for the vertical lines, must converge onto the left or the right. And a good method is left to the left, slow writing, and then right to the right. Alright. So, what I mean by this is, say I draw an object. Let's start with the height of an object. You always need to work with the heights. So, the height of the object is this right here. Okay, say this is my building or whatever it is. And then you have to realize that everything you draw to that building, the left side of that goes, the left points of that go to the left side. The right points of that go to the right side. Alright? And then from there, You choose where you're going to end your building, and you've pretty much drawn your vanishing point. Now, I'm going to just erase this because a lot of people tend not to see it with all the lines going through everything, and they really just get confused with it. So I'm just going to kind of erase some of this here. So that's essentially 2-point perspective. Left to the left, so anything on the left side of this needs to be drawn to the left side. Anything to the right needs to be drawn to the right. So that is 2-point perspective. And again, it works very similar to that aspect, all right? And then I'm going to cover the third point real quick, and then what we'll do is we'll stop it, and I'll show you some more tricks. Okay, so the third point is kind of tricky, and a lot of people don't get this. So basically what we're doing is we're drawing the horizon line, okay? And again, we have our left and our right vanishing points. All right, but now we have a third vanishing point, and this vanishing point can actually be floating however you choose, really. Say we'll put it up in the sky, and then what that means is all your vertical axes are drawn off that vanishing point. So it's like you're looking up at the Sears Tower or something like that. So you can angle these lines accordingly. So say I'm going to just draw a real tall tower that I'm sitting on near the ground looking up at. Now I've drawn those vertical lines to that point. Now again, left to the left, so let's draw 2 here, and right to the right, and again, left to the left, right to the right. And I've pretty much drawn my tower as if I were looking up at it. Okay, so somewhat similar to this. And I'll just clear up the vanishing points here so you guys can see the box like so. Now, one of the things that you really want to pay attention to is the distortion, okay? Always pay attention. If it doesn't look right in the distortion, it's not going to look right in the drawing. So it's just one of the things that you want to pay attention to. And I'll get more into some of the rules of perspective, but this is essentially how to do the 3 points of view. All right, and I'm going to stop it here, and I'll go on to the next one.